Hey, happy Friday. It has been a little bit of a moving target Friday for me. I hope that yours is going better than mine. I have had a couple of cancellations and a couple of people who said, hey, can you help me really quick? And all good. It all works out in the end. But I wanted to come to you with our Friday focus a little bit late, but I'm always going to, deliver what I say that I'm going to deliver. And I have a really good topic because this is something that is super confusing. It's confusing to people. It's confusing out there in the what we're seeing on social media and how people are presenting the information. So I wanted to break it down in a way that makes it, a whole lot easier for us to understand the concepts. And that is, people will come to me, and when we're talking about, I do these no charge. I mean, I don't even know what to call them. Like health solutions calls is what I call them. So that, people will say, this is what I got going on. Like, would functional medicine help? Can you help me? And in that conversation, inevitably, sorry, I just got another message. Sorry. Inevitably, what people will say is that I'm only eating like 1,400 calories a day, or I'm eating clean. Or I'm getting 150 grams of protein. These are the three things that I hear a lot. Like I'm watching my calories, or I'm watching my macros, or I'm exercising like crazy, or I'm eating clean. Like I've gotten rid of the fast food and the junk food and the stuff in the boxes and that sort of thing. And all of those are amazing. That's a step in the right direction. But you could still be stuck because there is something that I use in my program that I have actually, worked it out, put it down in writing. And later on this summer, I'm actually going to be writing a book about it. But it is a metabolic loop that we get stuck in. And our body is trying to protect us. And we are looking at one little thing. And a lot of times what we're trying to manipulate with those calories or with that exercise or with those macros is actually working against us. And until you understand it in this whole metabolic loop, or until someone explains it to you in this loop, it doesn't make sense. And you're so frustrated. You're like, there's gotta be something. It's gotta be my hormones. It's gotta be, whatever we want to blame it on. It's gotta be my genetics. It's gotta be my age. Because I hear that a lot too. So I wanted to break it down in a way, and I have some notes here just so that I say it exactly the way that I wrote it. Because I hope, what I really hope is that there's a big light bulb that goes off and you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. That makes sense. That's why. And you stop blaming yourself and you stop beating yourself up and you stop saying nasty things to yourself, because that's not doing you any good. For the record, that is not doing you any good. I went to a networking event last night, and one of the things that they talked about was self-care. And some of that self-care is how you speak to yourself. So if I have an opportunity to explain something in just like the right way so that you understand it and it makes sense to you and you're able to take that information and use it and make some good strides in getting healthy, oh my gosh, please, I want to do that. That's why I do these lives, so that I can hopefully share some information with you, because I know so many people that are on the journey to get well and everything is stacked against us. So I'm like punching holes in that wall, getting us on the other side so that we can be healthy, because our bodies want to be healthy. Our bodies were built to thrive, not just get by. Our bodies were built to thrive, and I want to help you do that. Okay, so here we go. Without further ado. So eating clean, counting calories, getting your macros, like focusing on your macros, all good stuff. But what I want to explain is that calories, they're just numbers. Macros are the instructions for your body, and that the key is blood sugar balancing. That's the key. And so I want to explain why just counting calories is not enough. And I want to explain how we sometimes get into some trouble with just looking at macros, and we're not looking at some of the other things that we need to in order to actually balance our blood sugars. So I'm sure you're like me. I have seen, people who will post their meals and they are either all protein, or they are, the 30 grams of protein and 100 grams of carbs and no fat. Or they are carbs and fat and no protein. Like I've seen people, I watch what people post, and they post their meals and they post, and so, I really think, I hope this helps somebody today. So, but you have to balance your blood sugar in order to work with that metabolic loop. And so I think maybe when I explained it earlier, that you're thinking that a metabolic loop is something that we're adding to your body. It's not. That's how your body functions. I've just identified it. I've just created a program around it. I've just written it out so that I can explain it to you. That's how your body functions. And if you're not working within that metabolic loop, then you're working against your body. And that's probably why you're feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, maybe feeling broken. Maybe you're feeling like I'm too old. My hormones are out of whack. This is never going to work for me. I've missed the window in order to get healthy again. And I want to tell you that none of that is true. None of that is true. Okay. So, what in the world is going on? I can't find my notes here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so for those of you who are just focused on calories, what I find is that many times people are, certainly if you are eating too many calories, you are not going to lose weight. You are either going to maintain the weight that you are, or you are going to gain weight. So calories, we can't just say calories don't count. Calories absolutely count. But many times people are eating too many calories, but they still have no energy because those calories are not fueling their cells. Okay. Or you can be eating too little calories. And this is what I find many times because who I treat and who I focus my education and that sort of thing on is women about my age, 40 and up. It doesn't have to be 40, whatever. But women who are kind of struggling with energy and brain fog and, weight and that kind of stuff, who are trying to figure it out. But when we talk and when we look at how many calories they're taking in, some people are taking in 1,200 calories and they're exercising like crazy at the gym. And I'm just going to tell you that your body doesn't trust you, and it is never going to allow you to lose weight by doing that. So many, many, many times I have to reverse diet people out of that huge calorie deficit in order for their body to go, finally, you're feeding me. Finally, I can relax and I can stop storing every single calorie that you give me because I think I'm in a famine. So calories are important, and I would tell you that, but calories are not the answer. Calories are not going to get you to where you need to be. You have to be aware of them. It has to be something that you're keeping track of. And I'm not talking about counting calories. I'm talking about something that you have to be aware of, that you cannot be eating over your calories because that doesn't mean you're going to be fueling your cells in the correct way. And you cannot be eating under your calories because you're going to be storing every single bit that you eat. You're not going to be losing any weight. Okay. Second part is that macros. So I see so many women that are focusing on getting their protein. And that is that is an improvement. I mean, that is better than what I've seen in the past, that women are like, I'm restricting my calories, I am just focused on carbs, and you are not eating any protein. And so you are, you're losing muscle, you're losing your metabolic fire, and you are not going to lose any weight. And not only that, that you can also be, storing fat in your liver, causing fatty liver. You can be causing insulin resistance to where you are storing fat all the time and you're not giving that fuel to your cell in order to burn. So macros are great. And you need to know what your macros are. You need to know what a protein is. You need to know what a carbohydrate is. You need to know the different kinds of carbohydrates. There's starches and there's sugars. You need to know the difference between the two of those. And you need to know about fats. And so let me just stop right here and say something about fats. I did my PhD in holistic nutrition, and what I did my thesis on is ancestral eating. And I will tell you that my grandmother did not worry about how much fat she was eating. She ate the whole part of the animal, fat included, the liver, the heart, the gizzard of the, of the bird. I mean, she ate all of it and she was healthy. And that's exactly why I did my thesis on that, because I was like, what is the difference? I know my family in the past never worried about counting macros. They just ate real food, and they ate the whole animal, and they grew their own plants, and they ate food that was in season and grown locally. Like, if you'll do that, you'll be healthy and you won't have a problem with weight. But as we are now trying to work in the environment that we have, in the food environment, in the agriculture environment, in the all the stuff that's being put out on social media where people are confused. I mean, there's people now that are having colon cancers happen because they've never really eaten real food. And colon cancers in young people, like 20s and 30-year-olds, because our food source has been messed up for so long that they've never had real food. And that is sad. That is absolutely sad. So yes, I am focusing this talk on maybe helping you to lose weight, maybe helping you to get your all day energy back without feeling like you're craving and you're slumping, or you have to reach for the caffeine, or you have to reach for the energy drink, or you have to take a nap. That's what I want for you. So yes, I'm talking about that, but what I'm really talking about is our overall health. And that the environment that we're in, we can't discount it. You can't force your body to work in a way that the environment is making it work against. Okay, so macros are important. And yes, you do need to have the correct amount of protein, even women. Usually it's about 0.75 to 1 gram of protein, 4 pounds of body weight. But you cannot discount, you cannot just count your protein and not pay attention to your carbohydrates. You cannot just not think that fats are important. And let me just say, we're not vilifying fats, because there's a difference between fats that are coming from junk food and seed oils and that kind of stuff, versus fat that's coming from olive oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee, avocado, animal fats, like that are grass-fed, that are pasture-raised. There's a difference in that, and you need fats. The whole problem that we have with our hormone balance and our mental health, a lot of that is coming from the fact that we've been low fat for so long, and our neurotransmitters and our hormones come from fat. You need fat in order to, be healthy mentally and physically. and hormonally. Okay, so yes, you need macros. You need to know what your macros are, but here's the key. You have to balance your blood sugar. So you have to manipulate those macros in such a way that your blood sugar is not spiking when you eat those carbohydrates. And the way that you do that is that you have carbohydrates and proteins and fat at every meal. Every meal. And that you stop snacking. I'm going to let that sink in because that's going to be hard for people. We have food at our disposal at all times. I mean, I can go in my cupboard and I can make 15 meals right now, and I haven't been to the grocery store in 2 weeks. Like, we have access to food. It's coming out our ears. It's always available. We always have a snack available, and it's probably not a good snack unless you're someone who meal preps, unless you're someone who is intentional about that. It doesn't happen by accident. It's not going to happen by accident. We have to stop snacking. And the reason being is because most of the time when we snack, we are snacking on pure carbohydrates. And those carbohydrates, what they are doing is they're spiking our blood sugar. When our blood sugar spikes, our pancreas releases insulin. Insulin causes our blood sugar to come back down because blood sugar is a toxin. If it's too high in the blood, it's a toxin to the brain. And so that's why our body releases that insulin over and over and over and over and over again, even though that insulin means that you are going to store those carbohydrates as fat. And it doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds overweight, it's still going to do that. The only problem that happens is that over time, with you continually exposing your body to insulin over and over and over, that those receptors on the cell get driven down into the cell, and now your body stops responding to insulin. So not only are you spiking your blood sugar, you're irritating your brain, but your blood sugar is staying elevated, so you're continually irritating your brain, and you're storing all of that carbohydrates, and you're not burning fat. So now you've created this metabolic dysfunction where you have insulin resistance. And people think that you have to be diabetic, or that you have to be pre-diabetic, or that you have to be overweight, or that this has to be happening because you eat like crap all the time. And none of those are true. None of those are true. You could be someone who has your mommy juice, which is 2 glasses of wine at night, and you're spiking your blood sugar, and then you're going to bed. And so your liver is having to deal with that, and you are not burning any fat overnight. Your blood sugar is probably rising and then falling at night, and you're probably waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because your liver is struggling to detox, and it needs to release cortisol in order to release more glucose into the into the bloodstream, so that you can fuel your liver in order to continue to detox. That's the metabolic loop that I'm talking about. So it's not so easy that you can just say, I'm not eating any carbs, or I'm not eating any fat, or I'm just restricting my calories, because it really is kind of a sophisticated dance that we need to have some information from your body to know exactly where you are and how your metabolic loop is functioning. That's exactly why I created this core health panel that I did, because it doesn't just look at blood sugar, because that, honestly, if your blood sugar is elevated, that's a late sign. You're on your way to developing diabetes. You might even have fatty liver that hasn't been identified yet. You might have insulin resistance already developing, but you're not going to know that with traditional labs. I'm sorry. They just don't. I had to argue with my primary care doctor recently when I got some labs done to even get a vitamin D level. And vitamin D is so important for your immune system. And gosh, do we need our immune system right now? I mean, do we need our immune system? Yes. And for our gut health. And our gut health is the key to overall health. But we'll leave that for another time. So I don't want to be, I don't want to make it seem so complicated that you can't figure it out, because you can. But I do want to tell you that it's not about calories, and it's not only about macros. You have to be aware of both of those things. But the boss of all of it is that you are balancing your blood sugars. And the way I can tell you really quickly, the way that I have people to do that is that you have fat, protein, and carbohydrates at every meal, and the amount of each of those, and usually a pretty balanced amount of each of those, with a little bit of manipulation. As you know, the first meal of the day should focus primarily on protein and fat to keep you from having that initial blood sugar spike, so that you don't have that blood sugar roller coaster all day long. Because once you start that roller coaster in the morning, it's hard to get off of it. It lets you ride all day long. So balancing those, that you have your macros in fairly equal amounts at each meal, that you stop the snacking in between meals. And that includes, getting your Starbucks coffee that has 1,200 calories in it, that has all the sugar in it, that's spiking your blood sugar. Or that you have your mommy juice at night, your 2 glasses of wine. Eat some cheese with it. Have a charcuterie board with it. Eat more calories with that to keep that blood sugar from spiking, and you are going to be doing better for your metabolic health. You should probably have at least 3 hours in between each meal that you eat. You should eat during the day. So when the sun goes down, that you should probably stop eating, and that you should fast overnight for at least 12 hours. These are the things that I start everybody on. These are the instructions that I give to everybody, and you'll feel better. You'll feel more energized. You'll sleep better. You won't have those energy crashes. You won't have those cravings that you have. You'll feel like a different person, and it doesn't take very long. Just these simple things. If you'll do these simple things, then it will make a huge difference. So that is our Friday focus. Our Friday focus is to focus on the right things. And we can't just look at our food without looking at our environment, and we can't just manipulate our calories. We can't just manipulate our macros. We really have to pay attention to kind of all of it, and we need a plan for that. So if you're looking to know whether you're insulin resistant or what's going on with your metabolic health, let me know. We can do a core health panel on you. Everything gets sent to your email. You go to a lab near you. No doctor's visits. It's easy. And if you feel like I am struggling, I'm on the struggle bus, I need help with this, I need to understand my metabolic loop better, then I want you to know that I have a program that walks you step by step, hold your hand, teaches all of this to you, 10 weeks. And it includes that core health panel that you can join in, because I just want you to know how your body works, so that you don't have to remember a bunch of rules, and you don't have to remember, you don't have to walk around with a booklet in front of you that says, what am I supposed to do now? You understand it, and you understand how your body feels when you're doing the right things, and how your body feels when you're not doing the right things, so that it's just intuitive. It just becomes who you are. All right, guys, I will talk to you. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday for Tuesday Tea with Kim.